What is good, YouTube? Back at it again with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you what it's like to shoot with a high-end camera alongside only available lighting versus shooting with an iPhone 13 with a creative lighting setup. Let's get into this one. So jumping straight into this video, obviously putting these two cameras up against each other is a bit silly. One costs around £50,000 when it first came out, and the other is a phone which costs about £1,000. But the reason behind this video, I wanted to highlight the importance of lighting and show that it's not all about what camera or lenses you own, and it's more so how you light your scene and prepare your scene for shooting. So a bit of a backstory. When I first started filming, I always strived for the camera with the highest resolution. And I always thought to myself, if I could just get that next camera that allowed me to do 1080p, 4K, 5K, 8K, etc., I would have the best footage. But then I was seeing people that were doing crazy stuff with cameras that were older than my camera, and the footage was looking better. And then I come to realize, as I was going on set and getting experience amongst DOPs that were lighting scenes crazy, I realized that if I just took out my phone and snapped a photo or snapped some BTS footage, the content was still looking crazy. So this is why I'm doing this test today, just to kind of prove to you that it isn't all about the camera. Like I said, I did make the mistake of trying to buy expensive lenses, expensive cameras, just to keep up, to try and create content that I thought was going to be great with these cameras, but it wasn't the case. And in order to prove my point, because I feel like a lot of YouTubers mention you don't need expensive kit and don't really show you why you don't need it, but I'm going to set up a scene and have my Red alongside a standard lighting setup, or not even standard, a basic lighting setup, house lights even, versus an iPhone 13 with a creative lighting setup. So this camera, of course, at time of release was probably about £30,000–40,000. The newer models probably go way beyond that. And then this is about £700–800. This is an iPhone 13, the standard version, I think. I don't even think it's the Pro model. So I'm gonna show you the difference. And with all that said, let's get into it. So here we are on set, and here is our trusted Red Epic MX. And here is our scene. So this is basically the back of my living room. We've got a bookshelf, we've got our talent or our subject in the middle, and this is all being illuminated by our house lights, which are just two bulbs illuminating our whole scene. And I'm filming this on the Blackmagic at the moment, obviously just for BTS purposes, so you can see what I see. And the image is just very flat. It's not giving off any sort of mood. There's no colors that we want. There's no shadows where we want them to be. And it just looks very ugly in my opinion. And if I go over to the Red, you'll see, even though the image is slightly better than the Blackmagic, it's still very one-dimensional. There is no depth to it. The light, I've matched it slightly with the white balance, so it's not as warm, but it's still very flat. We're not getting any separation between our talent and the background. We are just, yeah, very flat overall, and it just looks ugly in my opinion. Like, even though the camera is a great camera and the resolution obviously shows that, like, it is a clean, sharp image, but creativity wise, it just looks boring. Like, there's nothing to this that excites me, and this excitement and this kind of mood and creativity will come from the lighting, as you'll see as we go over to the other setup. But for now, I'm not really feeling this, and I'm really gonna create a mood for you guys and show you exactly what lighting can do. So let's head over to our iPhone setup. So here we have our lighting setup with our iPhone, and as you can see, this looks 10 times better than what we've done with our Red and the house lights or available lighting. So I've obviously done a few things here, and I'm going to break down what I've done, but it is pretty much just adding in a few practicals and a couple lights to give us this look. And the first light I've added in is my Aladdin, which is top lighting our subject here. And then I've given her a photo frame that I'm using as a bounce just to illuminate her chin, just so we don't get any dark shadows in that area. So again, this is kind of makeshift. This is not a proper bounce. You can use anything that's white. Normally you would obviously have a proper bounce to do the job, but I just want to prove to you that you don't need the best equipment to do this. And with that said, I'm going to go over to my backlight, and as you can see, this is a proper makeshift DIY rig that I've done on my Chinese, I think, yeah, this is a Chinese LED light that you can probably find on Amazon for like 40–50 pounds. And I've made a box and an egg crate out of cardboard, and what that's doing is basically shaping the light so it is nice and controlled. Again, I wanted to show you this just to prove that you don't need the best lights either. You can make do with what you've got and just improvise to get the best results. So this is what I've done with that. Very straightforward. I've got it clamped with a K clamp that you can find on Amazon too. I think they're about 20–30 pounds. And then moving on from that, I've added in a few practicals, and these practicals are basically just adding the mood to our scene. So they're illuminating the bookshelf whilst giving us a bit of color, that warm kind of homely look to suit our scene. And then I've added in some candles as more practicals. And for those of you that don't know what practicals are basically lights that you would add in a scene that will be seen on camera. So stuff like this, decoration lights, candles, lighting fixtures, lamps, etc. So that is what I've done to bring this scene to life, and like I said, it looks 10 times better. And I'm going to show you what it looks on the iPhone just to prove to you that it's not the Blackmagic that's doing this, because I'm obviously shooting this on a Blackmagic now, but it looks just as good on an iPhone. So from the iPhone footage, you can see that there is a much better mood going on here, and I keep using that word mood, and I guess that's the best way for me to describe it. But with the lighting, I'm able to create colors in the background. I'm able to put shadows where I want shadows. So obviously certain bookshelves are a bit darker than others, and others are obviously illuminated by candles and practical lights. And then our talent is properly lit, and then that creates depth between them and the background too. So lighting not only just illuminates your subject, it can create depth, and when done right, this is the result. So hopefully that proves you don't need the most expensive camera or lens setup to create great content. And if you do have money to invest, perhaps invest it into lighting. Lighting is essential when it comes to any sort of content, whether you're shooting music videos, YouTube videos, documentaries, films, etc. Invest into lighting. Of course, certain high-end cameras allow for certain capabilities that you might need in your videos, such as high resolution for visual effects, high frame rates, high dynamic range, etc, etc. But don't let the camera stop you from creating great content. It is all about what you do with your scene, whether it's lighting, set design, etc, etc. Make sure you're spending more on what you're trying to do in the image rather than behind the image with your camera. But that is it for today, guys. I appreciate you watching until the end of this video. As always, please follow and subscribe for more content like this. I'll be teaching you a lot more filmmaking skills and taking you on behind the scenes, etc, etc. So yeah, subscribe to my channel, click the bell notification so you get the notifications when I upload, and I will see you in the next video.